the National Football League, two-headed monster, great offensive line play, a defense, particularly in Myles Garrett, who's one of the best defenders in the National Football League that can get after the quarterback. If Baker Mayfield can play like he played against the Tennessee Titans, you will not want to play this team in the postseason.
We will talk more about them as well. Meantime, Shefty, I saved the best for last. I'm getting some notes here. My sources tell me that you have the number 1 overall pick in your NBA fantasy draft. Who are you going to talk?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams because of that defense. It's ferocious. Look, I think a lot of defenses are going to be what are driving a lot of these contenders this year. And right now, Brandon Staley, the new defensive coordinator that Sean McVay hired for 2020, is hitting it out of the park. He's got he's got 2 guys who are favorites to be NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey right now. So that's where I'm going to bank on heading here down the stretch. That defense rules the day.
We will see the Rams tonight. Meanwhile, Neek, how about the AFC South? Titans, Colts, who you like?
Man, you guys gave me the hard one. It feels like a coin toss with these teams, and the defender in me wants to go with the Colts because they have a better defense. But I feel like in this situation, what's more important is the strength of schedule going forward, and I feel like the Titans have an easier way to go. They'll win enough games. Right now, they hold the tiebreaker. I think they'll win the division.
I mean, how about, Damien Woody, the much-maligned NFC East? Giants, Washington, who you like?
Greedy, I like the New York Football Giants. Joe Judge has his team playing hard, playing well, particularly on the defensive side of football. I love what they're doing defensively. This is a hard-nosed football team, and they get Daniel Jones back and get him playing well and taking care of the football. I like their chance of winning that division.
Okay, well, let me then say the last thing in the world you would have been expecting to hear me say. But this much-maligned division that may very well be as bad as any we've ever seen has an excellent chance, let me repeat that, an excellent chance of getting 2 teams into the playoffs. Right now, you see the Giants have a 57% chance and Washington a 41% chance. Let me just explain to you what could happen this weekend, okay? There are 3 games that I will just go through for you very quickly right now. Minnesota plays Tampa Bay. Arizona plays the Giants. Washington plays San Francisco. I think the likeliest outcome from those 3 is that Tampa, the Giants, and Washington all win. If they do, then the Giants and Washington would have the same record as the teams that would currently be in the final wild card spot. So, Louis Riddick, we have made fun of this division all year long. They may very well wind up getting 2 teams into the playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. I don't think that ultimately that's going to happen, but I will say this. You have to tip your cap both to the Giants and to the Washington football team right now because of one thing, and that is obviously defensive play for both of these teams has just ticked up in a big way. Big investments on that side of the football. Look, the Washington football team has a bunch, just a fleet of first-rounders up front that are just terrorizing. And I mean terrorizing quarterbacks. And that's becoming a common theme when you're talking about team building throughout the NFL. The teams that have a lot of investment up front on the defensive side of the ball are just right now, they are leading the charge, and Washington is right there. You're seeing the same thing happen with the Giants as well. But here's also what I believe is, it's not necessarily a secret anymore, but I think this is what's going to be the driver for Washington. The Alex Smith factor, the way he is getting them to play right now, and the effect that he's having overall in that organization. If Daniel Jones isn't able to stay healthy, I give the nod to the Washington football team as far as winning the NFC East. And both of these teams right now, from an organizational standpoint, the people who are making pure football decisions, they're doing a great job.
Dominique, some team is going to wind up having to go into either New York or New Jersey or Washington and play one of those teams in the first round of the playoffs. Will that NFC East champion be a team that'll scare people that they're not going to want to go play?
No, whatever team gets to play them is going to celebrate. Like either one of them or maybe both of them. I understand that they've gotten a lot better, and you can grade them on a curve and be very happy for how they're playing now because they've gotten a lot better. But they still aren't very good football teams. They have good parts, good pieces, good units, but I don't think they're anybody that a team that has Super Bowl aspirations is going to be intimidated by in the first round of the playoffs. And that's as far as I see that division making it. They're not getting to the divisional round.
What do you think, D-Wood? Do you agree with that? Is that a one and done for both those teams regardless?
I don't agree with that because I think so much about the playoffs is about momentum going into the playoffs. we can look at the record and we can laugh at the NFC East, but if these teams go into the postseason with momentum, shoot, anything can happen. I mean, just go back to when the Seattle Seahawks beat the New Orleans Saints when they had a losing record. That's what I look at it. It's all about momentum when you get into the tournament, baby.
Look, at the end of the day, the Giants just went to Seattle with Colt McCoy at quarterback and beat Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. If they can do that, Nick, what can't they do?
Okay, so it happened. I'm not saying, so what do you give the chances of something like that happening? Okay, you're right. There's a chance. Maybe it's a 5%, 10% chance that one of them win around. But if the analysis that we're going off of that they might win a playoff game is momentum, Uncle Mo, I am not concerned. They're not going to do it again. Of course it can happen. Maybe it could happen, but it's very unlikely.
Okay.
I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot more. Look, I think it's even a lot more than just momentum. I think, look, Bruce Arians kind of alluded to this already. Everything right now, the playing field really has been leveled for everyone once you get in, because we know this as players too. Walking into an empty stadium road, that's something that can just deflate you. If you are not on your game, if you are not on your game mentally, I'm not even talking about the personnel part of this. If you're not on your game mentally, you're going to get run through in this playoffs. I'm just telling you, everyone right now, once you get to the postseason, you better be on it mentally even more so than anything. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of upsets, I believe, in this postseason.
Nick, I will just say this. Yeah, D-Wood, go ahead.
Hey, I'm going to tell Nick right now, let a team come snoozing into the postseason and looking at the NFC East.
If
you want to, I can
Nobody's going to be snoozing.
Hey, okay, I'm just telling you.
Playoffs?
Tell him, Woody. Tell him.
I'm telling you.
I have clearly lost control here. I will just finish it by saying, Neek, I smell a wager, and we'll see what happens. Let's see if we can get into all these on the clocks, because we got good ones here. Dominique, it starts with you. Carson Wentz, the starting quarterback in Philly, game 1 next season. Yes or no? Go.
The one thing I would say about Carson Wentz is they should give a chance, a legitimate chance, to Hurts. Because right now, the way they're framing it and the way Doug Peterson is talking seems like they're just giving Carson Wentz a break. But it feels like they're falling into the sunk cost fallacy where they have to give a job to the guy because they paid him so much money. They should address this offseason, best man wins, because right now Carson Wentz is not the answer no matter how much you paid him.
Fair enough. We will talk much more about Carson Wentz as we go forward. Meanwhile, Damien Woody, you are next. We've got a bunch of dangerous-looking teams in the AFC. Of those that don't currently lead a division, give me one you wouldn't want to play.
Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns for me. And when you watch the Cleveland Browns, they have a really good formula. They got one of the best rushing attacks in the National Football League, two-headed monster, great offensive line play, a defense, particularly in Myles Garrett, who's one of the best defenders in the National Football League. They can get after the quarterback. If Baker Mayfield can play like he played against the Tennessee Titans, you will not want to play this team in the postseason.
We will talk more about them as well. Meantime, Shefty, I saved the best for last. I'm getting some notes here. My sources tell me that you have the #1 overall pick in your NBA fantasy draft. Who are you going to take? 30 seconds, go.
Well, let me say this. It has brought me an disproportionate amount of joy to have that #1 pick. And I was planning to take and intending to take Luka Doncic, and Hembo has freaked me out this morning that Luka had a lot of turnovers last year and his ranking's way down. I still want to take him. I still plan to take him. I love the guy. I was going to take him last year in the first round when his ADP, average draft position, was about 20. I was going to take him at 11, and Stephania Bell sniped me one spot in front of me. I hadn't gotten over it all year long. I waited 1 year to draft Luka. I'm finally there. I get my opportunity 1 week from tonight. And I'm telling you, Greeny, few things bring me more joy than NBA fantasy basketball.
Take Doncic. Not only is he going to be a great fantasy play, he's going to be the MVP of the league this year. We'll take a short break. Coming up, big hour. Tom Brady may have pushed the Bucs to sign Antonio Brown. We've got some numbers.